So hello and welcome to today's class. Now today we're going to look at page 50, exercise 3, reading and speaking. So when you are ready, open page 50 please. Now let's have a look at exercise A. Now exercise A says you are going to read an article about some research that has been done about what people regret in life. Before you read, with a partner, now you'll have to do this on your own, but no problem, say whether you think the following sentences are true or not. So you can write now T for true and F for false. Now let's look at the questions. Question number 1. Most people spend some time every day thinking about things that they regret having done or not having done. Do you think this is true or false? Number 2, the main area of life where people have regrets is relationships. Number 3, on average, people have one major regret in life. Question number 4, most people think that the things they regret having done or not done are other people's fault. And number 5, most people believe that regrets are positive because you learn from your mistakes. Now again, before you read, think of your ideas. Do you think they are true or false? Because exercise B, can you see, says, read the first part of the article to line 16 once and check. Now only once, no cheating, no cheating. Now before we read the article, let's look at the bottom. Can you see at the bottom of the page where we have our glossary with some useful vocabulary. So can you see? It says, regrets, I've had a few. Now this is an often quoted line from the Frank Sinatra song, My Way. I'm sure you know the song, do you? No? Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. No, does it sound familiar? No, I know I'm not Frank Sinatra, but you get the idea, no? And you're going to find that in the title. Then we have a very nice idiomatic expression, lay the blame at somebody else's door. Now, this means that you say that somebody else is responsible for something. That could be useful for one of the questions. I won't say which one. And finally, getting on the property ladder is also an idiomatic expression, and it means buying your first house or flat. Now remember, first of all, you must read the first part of the text as far as line 16. So pause the recording now to give yourself time to read the first part of the text and answer the questions in letter A. So pause the video now and do the exercise. Now, have you got some answers? Well, let's check. So, number 1, most people spend some time every day thinking about things that they regret having done or not having done. Now, this is true. And we're going to find the answer in line 3. Let's have a look. Can you see? We spend 44 minutes a week thinking about things we could have or should have done differently. Now, it says 44 minutes a week, which I think we can imagine is a little bit every day, no? Now, what about question number 2? The main area of life where people have regrets is relationships. Is this true or false? Well, this is true. This is true according to the article. And we'll find the answer in line 4. Let's find it. Can you see? Our main areas of regrets are our love lives, 20%, So 20%. No? Excellent. Very good. Now, what about question number 3? On average, people have one major regret in life. Do you think this is true or false? Well, according to the article, this is false. And we're going to find the answer in line 7, now the beginning of the second paragraph. Now, On average, most people have two main regrets in life. No, two main regrets, not one, but two. Then let's look at question number 4. Most people think that the things they regret having done or not done are other people's fault. Do you think this is true or false? Well, this is false according to the text. No? Again, if we look at line 7, no, it says 17% of those interviewed laid the blame at somebody else's door. So 17%, no, that's not most people, no? And finally, question number 5, most people believe that regrets are positive because you learn from your mistakes. Is this true or false? Well, according to the text, this is true. And we're going to find the answer in line 8. Now it says 2/3 of 2,000 people interviewed said they thought their regrets have led them to act more positively and that they had learned from their mistakes. So those are questions 1 to 5, but there is another question, letter C, can you see? It says, without looking back at the article, can you remember another way of saying 1, 75%, 2, 66.6%, and 3, 25%. Now, no looking. Of course, you can look back if necessary, but let's see. So 75%, 3/4. No, 75%, you can say 3/4. 66.6%, well, that's 2/3, no? 2/3. And 25% is 1/4. Well, it makes sense, no? If 75% is 3/4, 25% is 1/4. Now, before we look at letter D, let's read the text from lines 1 to 16, beginning with the title. So we have regrets, we've had a few. Our love lives, health, childhoods. A recent survey has shown that we spend almost 3/4 of an hour every week dwelling on our regrets. Now, this is a very nice expression, no? To dwell on. No, to dwell on something means to kind of focus your attention on that thing. No? Now, usually it has a negative connotation. No? So you would dwell on a mistake, you would dwell on your past. No? So to dwell on something is to kind of focus all your attention, to concentrate on that thing. Now, and of course we have our wonderful woman here saying, I wish I hadn't. No? Do you remember I wish? Very good. Let's see. So, 3/4 of people surveyed said they did not believe it was possible to live a life without regrets, perhaps explaining why, on average, we spend 44 minutes a week thinking about things we could or should have done differently. Our main areas of regret are our love lives, 20%, family, 18%, career, 16%, health, 14%, and finances, 14%. On average, most people have two main regrets in life, and 17% of those interviewed laid the blame at someone else's door. But 2/3 of 2,000 people interviewed said they thought their regrets had led them to act more positively and that they had learned from their mistakes. 1/4 of them said their regrets had made them into the person they are today. Common regrets range from not getting on the property ladder sooner to not having had more relationships when they were younger. Others include regretting not telling someone we loved them and wishing that we had repaired a damaged friendship. Now, so that's the first part of the text. Now let's look at letter D. Now, can you see? Now, letter D says, read some of the top 20 regrets with a partner. Number what you think the top 5 regrets were in the survey. 1, the most common regret. Now, of course, again, you can do this on your own. Now, you don't need to do it with your partner. So take a moment to have a look at the list. Let's take a look at the list, shall we? Now, some of the top 20 regrets were, but not in order, of course. Now, let's see. Getting married too early. Not asking grandparents more about their lives when they were alive, not having done more exercise or eaten more healthily, not having saved enough money, not learning a foreign language or a musical instrument when they were younger, not working harder at school, not having travelled more and seen more of the world, making the wrong career choice, not keeping in touch with friends, having taken up smoking, or falling out with a friend and not making up. Now, which do you think would be the top 5 regrets? Now, remember, you must put them in order, but we're going to listen. So take a moment to put what you think would be numbers 1 to 5. Now, let's listen and check, shall we? It says, how many did you get right? Which do you think would be the top regrets for people in your age group? Now, remember, number 1, the most common, no? But you must put them in the order 1 to 5. Are you ready? Here we go.
3.17.
The top 5 regrets were, in reverse order, number 5, having taken up smoking. Number 4, not having saved enough money. Number 3, not having done more exercise or eaten more healthily. Number 2, not keeping in touch with friends. And the number 1 regret was not having travelled more and seen more of the world.
Now let's listen to that again, shall we? Here we go.
3.17.
The top 5 regrets were, in reverse order, number 5, having taken up smoking. Number 4, not having saved enough money. Number 3, not having done more exercise or eaten more healthily. Number 2, not keeping in touch with friends. And the number 1 regret was not having travelled more and seen more of the world.
Now, have you got some answers? Well, we have them in reverse order, don't we? So, do you remember? So number 5, do you remember? Number 5 was having taken up smoking. That was number 5. Very good. What about number 4? Do you remember? Well, number 4 was not having saved enough money. That was number 4. No? Number 4, not having saved enough money. Now, what about number 3? Do you remember number 3? Do you remember? Number 3 was not having done more exercise or eaten more healthily. That's number 3, not having done more exercise or eaten more healthily. Number 2, do you remember? Number 2 was not keeping in touch with friends. That was number 2, not keeping in touch with friends. And the number 1 regret was, do you remember? An unusual one, I think, no? Not having travelled more and seen more of the world. So those are the top 5 in reverse order. Now, did you get that? Well done. We're going to listen again one more time with the transcript, but before we listen, I'd like you to take a look at the green box. Can you see it says regret doing or regret having done? Now let's take a look at the explanation. We know the green boxes, no? We need to pay attention. So, after regret, the following verb must be in the gerund. But you can normally either use a simple gerund, which would be regret doing, or a perfect gerund, which would be regret having done. Now, so you can regret doing or you can regret having done something. Let's have a look at the examples. I regret not going to university is perfectly correct, or I regret not having gone to university. Now, because we're going to listen to the transcript, and in the list of things that people most commonly regret, we can see some of them with the simple gerund and some of them with the perfect gerund. Let's listen. Here we go.
(3.17)
The top 5 regrets were, in reverse order, number 5, having taken up smoking. Number 4, not having saved enough money. Number 3, not having done more exercise or eaten more healthily. Number 2, not keeping in touch with friends. And the number 1 regret was not having travelled more and seen more of the world.
So there, just to demonstrate now that we can use the simple gerund or the perfect gerund. Now, and again, if we look at our list now, we have various examples. Now, getting married, now that's a simple gerund. Now, not asking is a simple gerund. Not having done is a perfect gerund. No? So take a look at the list, because you have some of them now talking about regrets, now things that we regret, followed by the simple gerund or the perfect gerund. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching.